All right, we're going to try to finish up in Proverbs 31, and I'm going to start with verse 25. It says, clothed with strength and dignity, she can laugh at the days to come. And I tell you, if you watch the news or the internet, because actually some of the reporting is better by the non-professional people, because they are people just like you and I. When they give a report, it actually happened to them, as opposed to the perfect teeth, hair, just perfect, nice clothes. And those people, they got to work too, But sometimes when you're listening to the national outlets, stuff's just a little too perfect, And in a lot of the movies, every time a reporter comes, before they go on, what do? They make sure their hair's, They are like we are as we prepare to come to church. Especially if we had something in layaway and we done got it out and we wearing it. The days to come, it says, clothed with strength and dignity, she can laugh at the days to come. It's this guy that he started an insurance company, and he has just been wildly successful. He's so driven. He make me tired. And I started to turn him off because I was like, man, I got to get some sleep. I got to get up. But I tell you, he was talking about the inflation and the stock market and, how it all ties together. And I was like, oh, I've heard enough of that. I mean, and I would advise you, please take a few minutes anyway, but don't do like I do. I listen to that stuff too much, and it can start to bother you because it just sounds so negative sometimes, and you just feel like, man, there's no way out. We're gonna all get wiped out. Well, we're not all gonna get wiped out. But we do, saints, need to be careful about how we're spending our money. For real now. I mean, and that's not what this, I'm going to finish Proverbs 31. That's tied in with this because it says, with strength and dignity, she can laugh at the days to come. See, because there are some of us, all of us are concerned. But some of us are worried. Some of us are afraid. And, I'm not one of those, sometimes fear is good. Sometimes you need a little fear. Now, I know that's not the way we've been taught, because there was a song, there is no fear in God. It was a gospel song. And I'm here to tell you, yeah, you better have some fear. And I know, we've been told, come boldly before the throne of grace, and, but let me just drop this with you. And again, I'm not trying to start a verse fight or anything. Listen. Yes, when we miss the mark, or as church folks like to say, when we sin, you bet, yes. We need to find our Father. We need to repent, and we need to purpose it not to go that way again. However, when you're in a situation and it's jacked up, and you totally put Torah to the side because you were going to do what you're going to do because you're going to do it, because you're tired, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're going to have some fun, some way, someday, somehow. And the turn of events take place. Then you start second guessing yourself. You realize you made a bad decision. And I know, it says, come boldly before the throne of grace. Well, I'll just use myself as an example. I tell you, boy, when I miss it, when I sin, when I cut up, when I act a fool, I'm not necessarily in a hurry to come running before the throne of grace, because I figure with all of that righteousness and holiness, I might get burnt up. So I'm going to fall on my face, and I'm going to send up help. When I sin, I stink. I can smell myself, and it stinks. Even if I got a suit on and $200 cologne, which I don't own any, so if you want to give me some, I'll take it. And I'm not in a hurry to come boldly before the throne of grace with my stinking self. Now, I know I got to get back to him, because he's the only one that can get me out of that stench. Let me ask you something, and just look at the verse 25. Just look straight up that way. Remember when you were young, and that was a long time ago for some of us. But you outside playing, and you're running around or whatever, and you fell and you got all dirty. Now, you had to come into the house because you're going to take the clothes off and take a shower or a bath or whatever. Just think about this. How did you feel when you first came in the house? Now, you dirty now. First of all, you probably didn't want anybody to see you looking like that. And this is even as a kid now. And you sure won't gonna go through your mother's living room with whatever that is on it. What if you fell in some? Number two. What if you got on a $400 pair of Prada shoes? Are you going to throw them Prada shoes away? Or are you going to let them stay outside for a while? In other words, you don't quickly bring those shoes, them Prada shoes that you love so, you don't quickly bring them in the house. You probably leave them outside. You probably try to find some water, and you want to immerse them in water carefully. $400 Prada shoes, they should be able to withstand a little water. I'm still dealing with sin. I'm still dealing with the stench of sin. So if I can smell me, can he smell me? Yeah. Yeah. So when I know I stink, really, I remember Booth's here. One time Alice was, I think she was either jogging or walking. And she came, because we were having prayer in the church, and she came in from jogging or whatever. She probably was just going to sit down and, just join in prayer for a little while, and then probably go on home. So when I saw her, I went to embrace her, and she said, well, no, because she had been, kind of working out or walking or whatever, and she was a little sweaty, but that didn't bother me. But no, Alice didn't want me to embrace her. Now, I choose to believe it wasn't that she didn't like me, but she realized she had been perspiring, and ladies, y'all real, funny, but guys, we just, hey, yo, what up, bruh, And so when she did like that, and she said, well, I've been walking or running or something. So I said, okay, I understand. See, that's how I feel when I sin. Notice I said, when I sin. When I sin. I know I need to get back to him. And I know we've been taught, well, you can't clean yourself up. Well, you can put a little water on you. You can put a little soap on you. You say, well, Barry, did you repent? Well, I'm getting to that. See, a lot of stuff that we've been taught is not exactly accurate. Remember when they were carrying the ark and the thing tipped over and this guy was just trying to catch it before it hit the ground and he died. See, in the older, what we call the Older Testament, you want to know how the Most High is? I keep telling you, go back to that. Now, again, I'm not trying to start a revolution or anything, but please go back and reread that. Because I know you're tired of hearing me say that, and I'm not going to say those verses again, but he also says, I'm God, I change not. Now, if he says that about himself, we might want to take heed. We might want to take heed. See, all of us want to know, well, what is God saying today? He's saying what he said yesterday. It don't change. He says, I'm God, I change not. And I charged the church because I asked a question. I said, when did the narrative change? Who took it upon themselves to change the narrative? No one can edit the Most High. I don't care how many letters you got in front of your name or behind your name. You're an idiot if you try to edit the Most High. I don't care how many books you sell. That's a dumb thing to do. And all the students that sit there and take your course, and you give them a piece of paper with some writing on it, and they think they smart because they took your course. You're doing them a disservice. What does all that have to do with Proverbs 31, verse 25? Everything it says, clothed with strength and dignity, she can laugh at the days to come. See, now, I know it kind of bothers us sometimes, especially when it's somebody and they're saying they're exercising their faith like, I'm not worried about nothing. Come what may. God got this. God got that. God got. And I'm like, where's your wisdom? Where is your wisdom? See, Torah is running over. It's wisdom all in it. All in it. All through it. And as you walk out and demonstrate Torah by your life, by how you live, by how you carry yourself when you're in the grocery store, how you carry yourself when you're at a ball game, how you carry yourself when you're in the toilet. I know y'all don't like for me to talk about that, but I just like to get around real highfalutin folk and just talk about stuff like that because I'm so tired of the stuff. I mean, you know, some of us act like we don't go to the bathroom. If you don't go to the bathroom, you're going to die. That stuff got to be eliminated. Barry, talk about something else. I could hear my dad. Folks, listen. In the Most High, there is no, I want to say this. There's not a first-class section with the Most High. You don't have to be, you know, that stuff's bonkers. I don't care if you got a squash match at 2 o'clock. And then we're going for tea and crumpets later. You know, all of that stuff is crap. I'm telling you, all of that stuff is crap. And see, some of us, we think I'm high living. We need to come off of that stuff, man. It's sickening, and that stinks. I'm telling you, the stuff that we put so much stock in is elephant dung. And after a while, you get to where you don't even want to be around them kind of people. Oh, I don't. If I got to work with them, if I got to deal with them, I do as much as I can. But I'm looking, man, when is this going to be over? When can I get out of here? And not be rude, not be ugly. You know, in the first century, man, people, when they had what we call services or whatever, the people brought whatever they had, and they shared that. You know, sometimes they probably didn't dress up like we dress up, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's okay. But we get caught up in a lot of this stuff that's really not that important. But Torah keeps you centered. Torah keeps you in such a state where you realize, hey, I need to stay close to this. I need to stay close to this because I can go off. I can get into myself and say, well, you know, today, man, I'm gonna skip that. I'm going to do this. I feel like I'm gonna have a me day today. And we need to always, in the back of our minds, keep in the back of our minds the situation that, hey, things could get a little dicey. Things could get a little rough. I mean, we're already paying a lot for a little. You know, housing prices up and down, interest rates, you know, and you know, now we about ready to fall out the chair. What is it, about 7%? Well, I can remember in Houston, when I got my first house, I was paying 13% interest. And guess what? That was considered a good rate then. You see, saints, where I'm getting at is all of this is relative. All of it's relative. What's going to happen is eventually some of the housing prices are going to come down, but the interest rate is still going to go up. The Fed, I'm not going to call his name, but they're determined we're going to get inflation down. But in order to get inflation down, companies got to lay people off. That could be any of us, even those of us that own businesses, because, you know, the thing that used to tickle me about the MLM people, and I'm not knocking them because some of those, I guess, MLMs work. Some of them. But you remember how they used to make you feel bad because you had a 9-to-5? But I always wanted to say to them, but I didn't because I was trying to be nice. But once I got to where we had become real with each other, oh yeah, I was letting them have it then. Because I said that to one of the fellas. But I didn't say it mean. I said, you know, you guys, y'all need to stop doing that. Stop beating up on those 9-to-5s. You know, like you dumb or something because you work a 9-to-5. I said, because I tell you why. Those 9-to-5s, that's your customer base. That's right. Because if it was such a great program, why don't they all just sell to each other? And I also told the person, I said, listen, and that check you get, by the time you pay your downline, then you got to turn around and go to another rubber chicken banquet. When you go pay your house note? When you go take your wife out to dinner? I told him, I said, listen, if you can't pay your bills with that check that you're getting, all you're doing is you keeping the hotel industry going, the airlines. See, we could talk real then because he and I are friends, and we're still friends to this day. Clothed with strength and dignity, she can laugh at the days to come. When she opens her mouth, she speaks wisely. When she opens her mouth, she speaks wisely. So, if you want to be considered wise, stay quiet. Because some of us, we look real intelligent until we open our mouths. And then what comes out, the people, oh, well, not what I thought. It says when she opens her mouth. That means she's not constantly chattering. If you're constantly talking, you're not learning. Let me say that again. If you are constantly talking, you are not learning. When she opens her mouth, she speaks wisely. On her tongue is loving instruction. You can go on the internet and they got all kind of, man, the fight is on. The fight is really on, particularly in our community. The ladies and the gentlemen don't have a problem. Males and females got a problem. Men and women got a problem. And you can turn the different, they call them channels. You got one channel and it's guys on there, and they are bashing women. I know y'all think I bash ladies. I ain't got nothing on them, and I don't bash ladies, really. I don't. Then you go to another channel, and there are ladies or women or females, I should say. That's the correct. There are females running the guys down, admitting all the stuff that they do. Because I've known this for some time, but some females see males as nothing more than an ATM. And that's the way they were brought up, which was surprising. But you also have some gentlemen and some ladies that have channels, and they are trying to reconcile everybody. It's this one lady, somebody sent her some information, and I guess they were calling her a turncoat, because she tells the guys all the stuff that the females do so they don't get tricked. And so most of her channel, mostly guys turning into it. Then there's some guys that tell all our dirt to the ladies. Some time ago, long time ago, I went to Pastor and I asked him, I said, Pop, there is something going on between men and women. They're mad at each other, but nobody's saying what they're mad about. But yet, there's tension. And I said, why don't we have an open forum where you can come and just say what you got to say? And he said, I'm not having that. He didn't want, and I went to him about 3 or 4 times about that. I said, listen, it'll be good. And he wanted no part of that. But I said, but we got issues. And I was talking about in here. I wasn't talking about out there. I was talking about EWC. And, of course, he's wiser, he's older, and he's senior pastor, so we never had it. So because the church didn't have it, the world is having it. That's something you all can understand. And that's why all of these different channels are popping up. And it's quite interesting. Because you see all different types of people. Some of them are very elegant and eloquent the way they speak. And some of them are real street, rough riders. That's what they call them. They rough riders. And that's talking about the women. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, she is rough. But it's interesting I learn a lot listening to some of that because I need a break from all the finance stuff, and I'm like, this is amusing. But I'm gonna tell you, some of them rough women, they could be a little nicer the way they say it, but they speaking truth. And I just find it fascinating. In fact, I had one of them explain it appears a lot of the ladies are getting upset because they call them passport bros. A lot of guys are getting their passport and they going over, to, I guess, Jamaica or wherever, or Belize, or, And so, of course, the response is, but they're going over that because they can't handle a real woman. I'm like, well, if I got to be going 12 rounds with you, I don't want to handle one either. And it's becoming an epidemic. It really is. But one of the I guess the teachers was trying to educate the passport guys, because what she was sharing with them was, well, okay, you're leaving the United States, you're going over there, but if you're not wise, they're going to take your money too. And then they're going to try to get you to bring them over here. And when they come over here, 3 months with an American woman, and they become an American woman, their neck moving. And some of the guys didn't think about that. And I started listening to all of this when I got into Proverbs, because Proverbs is a book of wisdom, but when we got to Proverbs 31, I started watching these things because it talks about the different type of women. I told you, they're females, they're women, and they're ladies. And each one of them have different characteristics. You want to be more than just a female. Female and males are base. They're at that's the elementary. You understand what qualifies you as a female is that, and what qualifies you as a male is that. But you don't get much more than just that. You want a male, you can get a male. You want a husband, now you got to look a little longer or wait a little longer. And let me touch on that real quick, since we're dealing with here's how a lady can choose. Because see, really, ladies ain't supposed to be choosing. But that's for another time, but I'm gonna throw that out there, and I'll be happy to expound on it a little later. But here's how you choose. You simply choose when you properly demonstrate the Torah that you understand in your life. That's how you choose. Well, Barry, how is that choosing? I'm not choosing. Well, again, as you walk out the Torah that you understand in your life, you never know who's observing you. Well, I don't go nowhere. Well, then start going some other places. Change your route. You go home the same way every day. You go to the same old store all the time. Because, see, what happens is people get tired. People get tired. And I kept telling you, ladies and gentlemen, there's more to this. I'm a good boy. I'm a good girl. It's more to it than that. That's not enough. You need that just to get in the game. Get into his teachings and instructions. Walk it out every day. And even if you're not interested in choosing, it's still good for you to walk out Torah because you'll make better decisions and better choices in life. And with things coming the way they're coming, we got to make better choices. We got to make better decisions. Less emotional driven decisions. Our emotions are fleeting. Like I said, even if you're real happy, that's only for a while. Even if you're really sad, that's only for a while. Now, when you're sad, it seems like forever and ever and ever and ever. But it's gonna change. It's gonna lift. Clothed with strength and dignity, she can laugh at the days to come. When she opens her mouth, she speaks wisely. On her tongue is loving instruction. She watches how things go in her house, not eating the bread of idleness. She's always doing something good. She's always doing something good. She's always doing something good. Her children arise. They make her happy. Her husband, too, as he praises her. And sometimes maybe you don't have a husband, or maybe your husband is now gone. There are other men that are not directly in your life, but there are other men that are in your life that care for you. They're concerned about you. And as they replay things in their minds about you, they realize she has walked with Torah as best she can. I'm going to vouch for her. If she needs something, I want to be there for her. Now, it might be something no more than, hey, look, my hot water tank went out. I can't fix it, but I can help you get another one. My car acting funny. Oh, yeah, well, let me get a hold of Donnie, get him over there, see what can happen. See, but people will come to your aid because of how you've carried yourself. But see, if you've been a precocious, pretentious, I know I'm in church, but if you've been walking like, you don't go to the bathroom ever, who wants to help you? Who wants to help you? Nobody. And even the people in that high sedity group that you hang with, y'all don't even like each other. And so, let's stop all of that stuff. Let's stop being like that. Let's carry ourselves in such a way that everybody be like, if they ever needed anything, they can call me. And I'm going to pick up the phone. And I'm not just saying just me, but other people said, well, if they call, something's up. Let me pick up the phone. Some people, if you call folks too much, sometimes they see you see his, oh, Barry calling again. Oh, Lord. You know. I was talking with one of my workers this morning, and, it was a glorious morning. Both of them got their own time. Well, one got their own time. The other was a little late. But, man, they worked when they got there. And I said, man, this is so wonderful. And I said, Father, my life would be so much easier if they would do this every day, particularly Sabbath. I didn't hear anything when I said that, so I was like, uh-oh. In fact, I said, well, you know what? I better shut up and enjoy today. That's what, eventually I said, I'm going to leave that alone, dear. She watches how things go in her house, not eating the bread of idleness. Now, we all do. We all do need some me time. And with these last couple of years, we all could stand a little break. But not too much of a break, because I'm going to tell you, if you break too long, by the time you come off break, gas will be $5 a gallon. And then I got to call Francis and Sam and say, hey, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And Sam would say, well, bro, I ain't seen you in a month of Sundays. I said, well, I agree, Sam. Put Francis on the phone. I'm just playing. I'm just playing, y'all. Oh, my goodness. She watches how things go in her house, not eating the bread of idleness. Now, let me talk to you retired people just for a minute. I'm not knocking you. I'm not enjoy your retirement. That class of people more than anybody else, because see, if we still working, those of us that are still working, if things get too crazy, we just gotta get another hustle. But I'm hopeful that you retired people. I used to say a long time ago when I used to teach that finance class, I used to say, do the math before you retire. And I'm not asking you if you did the math or not. It's none of my business. What I'm saying to you is you particularly got to be careful. You got to be careful. You know, if your retirement fund is tied to the stock market, when the stock market lose money, that come out of your account now. And I told you they monkeying around with the Social Security, and they may ask us all to take a little haircut. And you know, cost of living raise. I think they gave one that was like 5%, but then what is inflation is at 7%. So you're still 2 points behind. Now, I'm not trying to depress you. I just want to inform you. I just want you to please use wisdom in how, and when I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, when you spend your money, please get value for it. Now's not the time to be like, oh, hey, I'll get some more. And you will, but listen. I've said before, There have been plenty of times I've been broke. Remember, couple of weeks ago, Francis gave me some money. And but I'm not broke, so I'm not asking. But what I'm saying, retired people, you don't even want to be broke right now. Now, broke is not poor. Broke means right now I just don't have readily available funds. Okay? But that class of people, you got to be wiser than those of us that are still out there hitting that 9 to 5. When you spend your money, please get value. And if you don't have to have another, don't get another. Right now, people are keeping their cars 12 years. Let me say that again. Right now, people are keeping their cars 12 years. Guess what? They're getting ready to now do a 10-year car loan. 10-year car loan. That's right, 10-year car loan. And I'm gonna move on, but if you're in the market for an automobile, please, if you can, hold off because the wholesale pricing has come down on the used vehicles. Near the end of the year, it should affect the retail. And see, there's a tail on everything. Stuff's not immediate. By the time it gets to us, the everyday consumer, it's going to be a little while. Now, they're reporting on the news, of course, well, yes, the prices are coming down, but there's a lag, L-A-G. Retired people, I pray that you're in verse 25. Clothed with strength and dignity, she can laugh at the days to come. And even in offering help. Because some of the people that go here got the biggest hearts. It's amazing. I mean, you know, now I'm sure we all have learned, don't give nobody your bill money. I know we learned that a long time ago. But some of you got hearts as big as all outdoors. And I'm going to say this because, yes, we're supposed to help each other. But if you have retired, you can't help people like you could when you was working. Okay? And you got to live too. Okay? Now, I know your grandchildren are precious. I know they are. And they cute. And they know just how to smile when they get around you. Let your children take care of their children. I'm not being mean because, well, Barry, you don't know, they're my grandchildren. Yes, I know, they precious. But you got to live too. And in these coming days, you got to keep things a little close to the vest. So what I'm going to tell you is 4 minutes. Because, see, some of you all just can't say no. Oh, and Lord, don't let them hug you. Oh, and say something real nice. And, and for some of y'all, they say, I'm going to go to church with you Saturday. Oh, and you just elated. Here, take my purse. Stop that. Stop doing that. I mean, I'm not fussing. I'm just saying you got to live too. And see, if your foundation isn't sure, you really can't help anybody else. Now, I'm not telling you not to help, please, that's not what I'm saying. But if I'm asking you to be that way with your grandchildren or great-grandchildren, if it fits, I'm also saying we got to be a little more stern with each other, too. Keep looking up there. I'm not saying that funds are going to get so tight you can't, peel off a few bucks. I had a situation a couple of days ago, golly, 2 minutes. And I'm going to close with this, and we'll finish it. I was getting some gas, and I don't like to go into the places. I just like to get my card, go to the pump, because quite honestly, saints, when I'm going to work, I'm kind of mad. I'm not real friendly. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to ask nobody for nothing, and I don't want nobody to ask me for nothing. And that's my attitude. When I walk out that door, I say, oh, Lord, what is going to be waiting on me today? But getting back to the story, I found a place that at the time, that went up to $3.29, but it was $3.24.9, with $3.25 a gallon. And that, around here, I think it's $3.39, $3.49, $3.59. And I'm always looking. So I pull up in the place, and I done jumped out, put the card in, and getting gas. And this lady, I saw her when I was pumping my gas. I saw at the corner of my eye. She was going into the 7-Eleven, but she stopped, and I was like, oh, Lord. But I never looked over there. I'm still, I'm watching the thing. Because like I said, that's my attitude. When I'm out 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't want no friends. I don't want to engage in conversation, because I know why I'm out at 3 o'clock in the morning. Why are you? But let me get to the story. All right, Reg, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm pumping gas, trying not to look over there, and I'm mad. So I'm like, hurry up, pump. Excuse me, sir. I'm still pumping gas. Excuse me, sir. Rustle. I didn't say anything. And I said, yes. And I'm still pumping gas. She said, now this was her story. And everybody's got a story. She said, she asked me for $1. She said, because I need some gas. I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't say this to her. I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, wait a minute. I saw you walking. I saw you. Long story short, she comes over. She says, listen, I need some gas for my car. Could you give me $1? And I keep some ones and stuff on me. And I peel off a few ones or something. I said, a dollar ain't gonna, you ain't gonna get no, you can't get a quarter of a tank for $1. But I peeled off some ones and I gave to her, and she was so happy. Then she made me even madder that I gave her some money. Can I have a hug? I was like, I don't want to hug you, lady. I'm like, golly, just let me get out of here. So I went on and I gave her the old church hug. This is the church hug, when you just put one hand over. I gave her that. But then what happened was, and that's what got me out of my stinking mood. She said, listen, I really do appreciate this. She said, people are so mean, and nobody will help me. Again, I felt that big, but I didn't go back in my wallet and give her more money. And I'm saying that, folks, because more of that kind of thing is going to be happening to you. So if you're going to get gas, get it during the day, because God knows. And ladies, please don't y'all be out at night trying to get gas. In fact, when you leave here, go get some gas. In using wisdom, you got to be careful about where you go, when you go. See, we gotta be thinking more and more. Be aware of where you're going. Be aware of your surroundings. See, the tighter things get, the more people gonna come up with more and more schemes. Now, a lot of these people really have a need, but the story they tell you, they try to tell you a story that they think will work. So either you're going to help them or you're not, but please be careful. And, don't be pulling out your purse, looking all through it. Because, see, this is something else that's going to be happening. People going to be setting you up. Long time ago, I know, Reg, I'm running over, I'm going to be real quick. I developed a rule. If she under 30, I ain't stopping. If she's older, I'll stop. Because what's happening, and this is for the fellas, when them young things stop and they got on their gym workout outfit, keep riding. Somebody else, see, when you stop to help them, a flat tire, whatever, a little while, here come another car. That's when you get robbed. That kind of stuff's going to start happening more and more. I'm not telling you this to make you fearful. I'm telling you to be watchful. Please, particularly you ladies. Let me sit down and shut up. Thank you, Reg. God bless y'all.